Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Divine Platform. This is your story, the literati. All I do here is for the edification of the Most High and for the restoration of His kingdom. Yes, I can do all these things through Christ, which strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. And may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Psalms 19:14. Yes, so I have more to talk about the Pope. As you can see from the thumbnail, the Pope Saga, the two robots. Let's see. Please watch the first video in this series, Pope Fafo, because what I say here builds on that from the first video. And before I present this entire video, I will set a background so that you can understand where I'm coming from when I say what I say later. So we know that everything that God created was very good, like it says in Genesis 1:31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. But what has happened? That goodness that God created has been Vaticanized. It has been diverted, inverted, converted, perverted, reverted, subverted. Anything but the truth. So many of the organizations that we see were created by a mandate from God. They were holy organizations, they were rightful organizations, but they were infiltrated by the Satanists, and their mission, the mission of those organizations, was perverted by the Satanists. And sometimes what they do, they will just completely destroy an organization and then create a mimicking. So they mimic and then they destroy. So they're not creating originally, they're copying something and then changing it all up and creating something totally different than the original, but it still has that name and the power somehow. Yeah. And I also believe that in these same organizations, they have good people working in there. Because like I've said before, they need our energy to propel their missions forward, their evil agendas forward. They need our energy to propel those. So in these awful organizations, you'll find that there's usually good people who are still working in there, but their voice is a minority. They're silenced. They're only used when they're needed, but mostly they're silenced. And when they speak the truth, um, they're vilified. They're punished for it. And I think God is just keeping them there until when the right time comes for them to speak out. So in saying that, I'm saying that because I want to show that I believe the three major Abrahamic religions are such organizations. They were initially good, but then they were perverted. They were infiltrated and then perverted by the Satanists. So now what we see now is all evil. And even if they were not perverted, I think what they do is they get into an organization, they take out an aspect of it, they split it up the way they like to split the atom, they split it up, they take an aspect of it and then use it as a bona fide organization by itself. So for example, it's the same way when they come to your communities, especially in the developing countries, and they find a plant that you use for health. So they take that plant, they break out the assay of that plant, and they take the component or the ingredient or the compound that they think is most effective, and then they repackage it and rebrand it and sell it back to you. So for example, let's take the pine needles. they contain, I think, shikimic acid or suramine, which are very effective compounds. So they extract those from those plants and reproduce them, maybe switch them up a little bit, and then patent them and then sell them back to you. So it's the same thing with these religious or spiritual organizations. For example, when you come to Christianity, there's different functions within it. There's different groups that do different things. We have worshippers, we have apostles, we have intercessors. Their job is just to pray, day in, day out. So they will come, let's say, pull that group out and pervert them, convert them. So maybe they turn them to what we call Islam now. So they're still praying 5 times a day. They're prayer warriors, but they've completely changed the original mission. Okay? So I'm saying that to show you that many of the organizations we have been perverted and maybe replaced, but these are organizations that are supposed to be here. Another thing is that in the kingdom of God, everything is orderly. Everything is well defined, described, designated. Already, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that has been is that which is, and that will be. I can't remember the exact wording of that verse. So God has already created everything, finished. So now we're just going through the motions. Okay? So for example, in this video, I'm going to use the case of the Pope. The Pope, the person who's supposed to be Pope now, is already known, was already chosen. And this person has certain characteristics or details that identify him. These details are his name, his race, his personality, his ethnicity, his all those things have already been decided, and they are known. So what the imposters do to usurp the order, to create chaos, is they will tap into this ID of this person and get some of the details, then create a fake ID, and then they'll use that ID, that fake ID they have created, to hack the matrix. They do this by using rituals. Rituals, yeah, they use rituals, a lot of moon magic, okay? And so for instance, the papacy or the papacy, the Pope who's supposed to be, these are some of the details that are known. His name, his race, his ethnicity, his roots, his ancestry, and even maybe his nationality. Okay, so that's the crux of this video, where I'm going to show you why there's 2 robots as the thumbnail. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe if the information resonates with you. For the regulars, thank you so much for staying with me. And for the new people, really, and everybody else, I hope you find this information edifying. Okay, so I believe this is who's supposed to be the Pope right now. Who's this? This is Cardinal Robert Sarah. He's from Guinea. And why do I say that? I say that because he fits the ID of who is supposed to be the Pope right now. And how do I know he fits the ID? First of all, it was a revelation from God. But secondly, it's what they put out with this Pope Leo the 14th, the supposed Pope Leo the 14th. And this is the coat of arms for Cardinal Robert. And it says, my grace is sufficient for thee. All these cardinals, I guess, have a coat of arms, and they just adopt it when they become popes. Okay, let's go to his ID. what are the details of the person who's supposed to be the Pope right now. His first name is supposed to be Robert. He must be of black race. His ethnicity must have some Creole in it. He must have African roots. And his ancestry needs to be from Guinea. Okay? Not necessarily, yeah, from Guinea. But then there's other details too. So Robert fits all that, yeah, because his name is Robert. He is black. And he's Creole by virtue of being from Guinea. Because most Creole people trace their roots back to Guinea, Ghana, that West African region, Sierra Leone, I think. Of course, he's African, and then his ancestry ties him to the Creole. The nationality is not important, yeah? We can just focus on those 5 ID details. So this is the details of the ID that makes the Pope. But then, actually, I'll come back to this later. He is also, given what's going on politically and internationally, with the Americans visiting the Pope, and then just before he died, you'd expect this Pope to be the Pope because his ideology most mirrors that of Trump, who is the president right now, and he's the one who's leading us kind of to the new world order, preparing it for the Antichrist or the abomination of desolation. So Trump is acting like in the Trinity, he's like the Antichrist, but he's preparing it for Obama. But anyway, what's his ideology? Well, we would think that he would be the one selected Pope because he would be working in tandem with Trump. Okay, these are some quotes from his literature. The West cut itself off from its Christian roots. That's exactly what Trump keeps on talking about. Gender ideology is Luciferian, same thing. When Trump says marriages between man and woman and all these laws they had for transgender, he's rolling them back. Okay, mass immigration is a new form of slavery. Modern distractions are the devil's tool, and he calls for Christians to refuse loyalty to popularity or politics. Okay, so we can see his ideologies exactly like Trump's. But so why was he not elected or selected? I cannot tell you the exact reason why, but I'll give you what God gave me as confirmation that there's somebody else occupying his seat. Honestly, I don't even know whether he's a good or bad person. I just know that he's the one who's supposed to be the Pope, and that was usurped from him. And I think he turns 80 soon, and I know the Curia, that there's a rule that you have to be under 80 to even be considered for Pope. So if he turns, I don't know, if he turns 80 before he becomes Pope, I don't know if they're going to change the rules for him, because I know they've changed ages before to have somebody fit what they want. Anyway, so now let me show you the confirmation. So for me, the confirmation came, first of all, again with this DJT, but especially with a focus on TD Jakes. Please watch this video about Jyoti. It's called Jyoti. It's interesting because it ties TD Jakes and Trump, and TD Jakes is showing up again here. So what happened on April 27th, the day after the Pope was buried? T.D. Jakes stepped down from the megachurch. He's 67, and he announced that his daughter Sarah Jakes Roberts and son-in-law Touré Roberts will take over from the church which he founded in 1996. You know, initially when I saw this, the date they had was 4/21, the day that the Pope died. That's when it showed that T.D. Jakes was stepping down. But then when I went back again to do this video, it was gone. I wish I had screen saved it, because I know sometimes, like I've said already, they change dates to fit their rituals. So these rituals are happening real time. Okay, so let's see. This is neither here nor there, but T.D. Jakes, 67. The Pope is the 267 Pope. So we have, that's a connection there. But the critical thing here is that the person who will be taking over is the daughter, Sarah Roberts. The one who will be taking over from T.D. Jakes stepping down is his daughter, Sarah Roberts. Sarah Roberts is 36 and she had a child at 13 years old. When she was 13, she had a child. Wow. Okay, so her and her husband, Touré Roberts, will be taking over. Okay, so the first important thing here is the name. Robert Sarah is a cardinal, and then we have Sarah Roberts taking over. So there's a mirroring here. So T.D. Jakes announcing this on the 27th, right after the Pope was buried, tells me that there's a ritual, there's a wave these people are riding to do this ritual. There's a wave that's being ridden. And from my study of both the Bible and other literature, it seems to me that these waves, these energies, I don't know how to say this, these energies are neither good nor bad, but people pervert them. Some use it for good, others use it for evil. That's what I'm getting from studying all this stuff. Anyway, so yes, so Sarah Roberts will be taking over when T.D. Jakes steps down, I think, in July. And of course, then when they say July, that's an important date. So I researched further into Sarah Roberts and realized that she was engaged previously. She was engaged to a man whose first name is Robert. So now here we clearly see that that Robert name is crucial. It's important that that Robert name, this is the season, or it was, I don't know, the season for the Robert name, because everybody, not everybody, but many people are using that Robert name, or that's an important name for the ID. Okay, so let's see how she fits this ID that I showed for this cardinal. Where is it? Yeah, his name is Robert. He's this cardinal, right? His name is Robert. He's black, Creole, African, and from Guinea. Okay, now let's look at here's Sarah Roberts. Her name is Roberts from her, by virtue of being married to Touré Roberts, but it's interesting because she was already engaged to somebody whose first name is Roberts. And I want to say that her first child or second child, that's the father, but I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. She's black. Ethnicity is Creole by virtue of being married to Touré Roberts, whose name is clearly West African. And her father, T.D. Jakes, claims to have Igbo roots. Igbo is a tribe in Nigeria. So she claims that ancestry that way too. So though she's not from Guinea, herself, her ancestry is from there by virtue of either her father or being married by marriage to somebody who claims ancestry from there. Like I said previously, nationality it's not important here. Let's look at Touré Roberts, her husband, who's the one who's picking her up into this position. So the surname Traore is of West African origin, particularly associated with the Mandinka ethnic group. It is derived from the word Turu, meaning elephant, and is often used as a patronymic or a name given to someone with a connection to elephants. The surname Traore is commonly found in countries such as Mali, Senegal, Guinea, and Ivory Coast, and is associated with strength, wisdom, and leadership. See that leadership? See that strength? Okay, but I have this story here to show that it's West African, and those countries, Guinea is named in this here. So that's how they have that GN. The Guinea is the GN name there. Okay, let's see. So the GN code is also quite important here. We have Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, Ghana, French Guyana, Papua New Guinea. So that Guinea is quite important. But most importantly, for the solar system, for the cosmic system, and they use moon magic, is Ganymede. What is Ganymede? Ganymede, or Jupiter the third, is the largest and most massive natural satellite of Jupiter and in the solar system. Despite being the only moon in the solar system with a substantial magnetic field, it is the largest solar system object without a substantial atmosphere. It's larger than the planet Mercury. So it is a huge moon, therefore huge energy object. And I talked about, I think in 2024, the predictions that God gave me about Jupiterian and Saturnian. So Jupiter and Saturn, the planets, and we see here that they talk about Saturn as well in this article. And I don't know much about astronomy. This is something that's totally new to me. I just read when I'm led to do a video, really, but I'll take time to study it later. But it was revealed to me that this is the moon. This is the energy that is being used, that they're writing for their rituals, okay? And some people are usually hesitant when you talk about astronomy because they conflate that with astrology. But I just want to show you that that's in the Bible, a lot of scriptures about the heavenly bodies, the stars, and I just have a few here for you to look up, but there's just so many. And to me, this legitimizes what I'm doing right now by talking about the moon, and when God reveals this thing to me, I give it to you like He does. And so whether it's natural or not, I do believe some people are aware of these energies and they write them or they use them. For some, it's godly, it's natural, but I think for others, they hack into the evil world, the fallen angels, and then they use that energy to do evil on earth. I believe this is the same energy that the West African countries, I want to call them states, like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. I think this is the energy that's being used. And I know it's a strongly West African energy because of the GN, the Guinea, the Ghana, the Ganymede as well. Yeah, and I'll talk about Ibrahim when I get more information, but as of now, God has not revealed anything to me. So that's, if He does, I will definitely come out here and tell you guys. Okay, so this is the man who's supposed to be Pope in Samaria, and his ID, or that ID, was hacked. Somebody used a fake ID to log into the matrix and occupy that space. Okay. This cardinal is of the Kinyagwe people, and they're referred to as the May, M-A-Y. So that May sounds like May, the month of May. So to me, this is even further confirmation that this man is supposed to be the Pope. Okay? He can't be he's referred to as May, and then we are in May, and then this the Ganymede, everything else fits, and he's not Pope. There's something wrong. Okay, let's look at who's next? Pope Leo. So the person who hacked the imposter or the usurper is Pope Leo. And how did he hack? It's so interesting that right after he was elected, the media came out blasting with all these claims. Genealogist finds that Leo the Fourth has black Creole roots from New Orleans. And then White Smoke, Black Pope Leo the 14th, first American pontiff, has African roots. So here the black, the Creole, the African, they hacked into all that. They hacked into all that. And that black bloodline or African bloodline is like 0.0001%. These people will do anything, they will just literally do anything to get what they want. But I can tell you right now, his tenure is going to be shaky. It's already suspicious and dubious, doubtful. People already, the silent majority is like, what just happened? But they're so used to, oh, he's a Pope, respect him, don't do anything. What? People are just like, what? People are still in shock. Guarantee. Believe you me, once the shock wears out, they're going to run him out of there. Okay? It's going to be problematic and truncated or even terminated. What the conservatives are already agitating, okay, accusing him of looking the other way when child sex abuse allegations were brought against him. I don't know who looks the other way when sex abuse against a child is brought to their notice. Even in prison, people who abuse children sexually are kept away from the population in the prison because they will be killed. They're the scum of the earth, basically. Even murderers cannot stand pedophiles. So if you have anybody who can tolerate that kind of behavior, that's an evil person. I don't care whether they did it or they saw it. For me, if I even suspect, stop right there. We're going to find out what's going on. So the conservatives are already agitating. They just don't know who or what this is. I'm telling you, they do not know what's going on. And even though some popes are, or most popes are not of God, truly, but at least they're human. Okay. What are they saying about him? Pope Leo urged to prepare the world for imminent first contact with ET. Okay, Pope Leo could be key to UFO disclosure. Ex-Vatican advisor says, okay, ET, UFO, demons. When Francis opened those doors on the 24th of December 2024, he was letting in all sorts of demonic entities. Looks like this Francis is the one who's going to introduce the world to those entities that his predecessor let out. And it's interesting that just before he became Pope, before somebody from the Trump's administration went to the Vatican, and then they went back again during his inauguration, and this current administration has in my opinion, has a lot of transhuman characters, like cyborgs, your Elon Musk, I think straight up robots, humanoids. I think if number 44 was transgender, number 47 is definitely transhuman. and is the one who runs with the jab thing. Yeah, because that's how you get in transhumanism. But we don't even know if this man or this character is a human or not. We have to be sleep with our eyes wide open. Actually, we should not even be sleeping at all. I found this article about RoboPop schematics. This came out in 2013, and I will leave the link below if you guys want to read more about it. But just an excerpt here says, earlier today, the Avignon papacy held, this is supposed to be fiction. Earlier today, the Avignon papacy held a news conference to confirm the existence of RoboPop, going so far as to release schematics of the first fully functional cyber pontiff. The clang of RoboPop's titanium chassis could be heard even above the din of reporters' shouts of surprise as RoboPop stomped on stage. Dominus vobiscum, RoboPop intoned with its powerful speaker-augmented voice, blessing the assembled reporters. Okay, you can't make this up. These people I've told you are not bound by time. They already put this out there. And additionally, I think what's happening, actually, I don't think, I know what's happening is that it's getting harder and harder for them to camouflage, to hide their identity, to obscure who they are as the light is changing. So they can't play those light games anymore, smoke and mirrors. So they are preparing to show us exactly who they are. Do not accept these demonic entities. Do not accept them. So that he's an imposter, that this is an imposter, that sentiment is actually even echoed with the people of the Trump administration, like Steve Bannon here. He's a good, big supporter of Trump, but even him, he tells us that this guy is fake. Let's hear what he says.
The conclave for the Pope was more rigged than the 2020 election. Now, why do I say? Let me back it up with some facts. On Piers Morgan's show, 10 days before the conclave started, I called. I said, Prevost is the dark horse. He wasn't in any betting pool. If you look at Italian TV, nowhere. The reason is not only is he's only been a cardinal less than 2 years. He was the perfect acolyte for Bergoglio to continue his thing. The front page of the New York Times says that today. If you read the whole huge front page story. More importantly, because of our efforts and because the traditional church in America is on fire with vocations and young people and vibrancy and urgency, that we help cut off the money going to the Vatican. And so the Vatican, the Wall Street Journal had a huge article this week that showed the Vatican has tons of assets, but they're illiquid. They need the American cash. They would never put a traditional American in that role because they think the American church has too much power. Prevost, what is going to be the contact for the big American donors?
So now, there was a joke at the time, a couple of days ago, when he got a pope, that Mayor Daley had rigged another election in Chicago Cardinal. But,
his brother did say...
You're not underestimating the reaction against Trump here and the influence of Pope Francis on having appointed 2/3, 3/4 of the cardinals, whatever.
That's true, but he worked in the dicastery for the archbishops. However, he was virtually totally unknown. The American Cardinals came out today and said, he's the least American of the Cardinals, and we don't really know him. This was a true dark horse. And it only took 3 ballots, folks. It took 1 day. They had 1 vote late in the afternoon. Next day, it came back. It is impossible. And the Daily Mail reports he talked to his brother 2 days before the conclave, and they were talking about picking Leo. He wanted to pick Leo, but he thought it might be the 13th, and then they figured out it was the 14th. Well, how would you talk to your brother about that? This was totally rigged by the Curia to be both anti-Trump and to drive. We're going to have a schism in the church because the traditional Catholics are not going to go along with the continuation of Bergoglio.
Okay, so let's park the Pope for a moment. I want to get... No, I asked you about the Pope, just to be clear.
Okay, so was it rigged to be anti-Trump? I don't know. All I know is that it was rigged. and we have the wrong person in there. And you notice he talks about, he thinks it's because of money. The only reason they talk about money is that it's because that's how the New World Order is brought in, is through money. Okay, so here's your first Creole Pope. Look at that headline. Why are they so obsessed with wanting to be black? Remember Rachel Dolezal, then we have Kamala Harris, and then we have this Prevost here. And a lot of Indians usually claim black status, especially to get into colleges. And where was Candace Owens to question his blackness like she did for Kamala Harris? Incidentally, she was away having a baby. I hope she'll talk about it when she comes back. But this is a papal miss. It's a miss. It's a mess. It's a papal mess. This is a stolen identity. It's misidentification and usurpation. Is this man even human? And before I forget, he claims his Creole ancestry by way of Haiti. It's very crucial that they have mentioned Haiti. Haiti is going to be, how do I say it? I've said it before again. Haiti ends up taking over America. Just watch. I have no doubt about it. And I think claiming Haiti might be one, what can I say? It's part of that trying to usurp who takes over. Anyway, let's see what's here. Yes, the name Robert Francis. There's other two Robert Francis who are famous. We have Robert Francis Kennedy. He was a presidential hopeful who was assassinated in June 1968. And then we have Robert Francis Kennedy Jr., who is the Secretary of State, Secretary of Health and Human Services. They are related. So this one, the one who's still alive, the secretary, on May 10th, he was seen swimming with his grandchildren in Rock Creek, Washington, D.C., despite warnings from the National Park Service about high levels of bacteria and contamination in the water. Swimming in this creek has been banned for over 50 years due to health risks associated with fecal contamination and pathogens. To me, this is communication. I think the papacy is in a mess. It's gone back to a place that it's not supposed to be, and there's a lot of risks. And I think they did that despite a warning. This is how I understand this, because this can't be coming out at the same time. And then there's also an idiomatic expression, a creek without a paddle. And the loose translation is like being in a difficult predicament. This papacy is in one. I'm telling you. It is in one. Anyway, so let me wind down here by looking at Peter Turkson, the other likely candidate. His name is Peter, so it's not a Robert. His race is black, ethnicity is Creole. His roots is African or are African, and then his ancestry is Ghanaian, so that's the GN. His name is Peter, but we know that, let me find it here real quick for you. The Ganymede is also referred to as Jupiter, okay? Jupiter is a compound word, J-U and then Peter. So he gets in by the name Peter. But he was was even considered, to me, the Robert is a more likely, was first in line, so to speak. But this cardinal has been considered twice, in 2013 and then again in 2025. He was thought of as a front runner. Excuse me. His tribe, he's the modern Mfantse or Fante, which is a combination of Akan and Aboriginal Guan people. Yes, so he is a Gani made, Gani made. So yes, he could have been the other person if, what's his name, Robert didn't take the position. But neither of them were. So let's talk a little bit about the ID. So normally for every person, there's several identifiers that mark who you are. For example, you're born on this date, you're male, this is your address, this is your height, this is the color of your eyes, this is where you come from. There's a lot. But what happens, and to get to a certain place, you probably need 5 out of 12 of those details on your ID, and then they'll let you through. So what happens is that people hack, I don't know how they do it, by witchcraft, and they get the details of the person who's supposed to be. And sometimes even people like you and me who don't practice witchcraft can tell who's supposed to be in a certain position, and we have their details, you know. So you don't really have to hack. Sometimes you just know. But what the evil people do is once they have that information, they counterfeit it and hack into the matrix, witchcraft, and then steal your star, steal that power, or ride on that wave. Okay? I don't even know if Cardinal Robert is a good or bad person. I don't know. All I know is that he's supposed to be the Pope. That is who is supposed to be the Pope. Okay? Why am I doing all this? I want to show you that what they're doing, and that way you're prepared, because they use shock, the elements of shock and fear to destroy you. But if you have knowledge and information, you're forewarned, so they cannot shock or intimidate you into fear to destroy you. Okay? So you cannot, with this information, you cannot perish because you have knowledge. That's why I do this. Ephesians 5:15-16 says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Ecclesiastes 3:16, "And moreover I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there." Yeah, so this is the usurpation, the switching of our destinies, of anointing, the hijacking of organizations, and filling them with iniquity, you know. This is what is being talked about in this chapter and in this video today. And I can tell you, this Robert rabbit hole goes deep, and it's not going to land. It will not. People, even the corrupt people, are like, what just happened? They did not see this coming. But again, so what's going to happen? We're going to have start seeing a lot of infighting. The snake is eating up its tail. It's cannibalizing right now. So it's almost like whatever they do, it's going to be an embarrassment for them. Okay, and then I have part 2 where I talk about the king of pop. And I mentioned this in the Pop Fafo video, so I hope you watched that, because I'll just be building up on that in part 2. Make sure you watch both, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Questions, comments, suggestions are always welcome. If this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe. We must reach as many people as possible. Remember, all is truth. There can only be truth. Everything else is a distraction. Do not be distracted. Thank you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next. Thank you.